Hi, I'm Dr. Joe DeMarco, chiropractor and owner of OcraMed Health. Welcome to the OcraMed Health Podcast. We have an unbelievable guest today. We're interviewing Bill Gillespie, powerlifting legend, who back in January set the all-time bench press record with a bench press of 1,130 pounds. And not that that isn't remarkable enough, but what makes it even more remarkable is two things. One, it was set at a drug-tested competition, and two, Bill is 62 years old. So before we get into the interview, real quick, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, OcraMed Health. Hit that little bell notification. It notifies you every time we upload a new video. And at the end of today's video, if you enjoyed the podcast, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, okay? So without further ado, let's get to our interview with Bill Gillespie. Hi, I'm Dr. Joe DeMarco. I'm here today with powerlifting legend Bill Gillespie, the owner of over 133 bench press records, including the most weight ever bench pressed, which was 512.5 kilograms, or we like to just say 1,130 pounds, which is just incredible. And he did this past January at the age of 62 years old. Welcome, Bill, and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks. So, Bill, we're going to talk about this incredible record that you set back in January in just a few minutes. But before we do, I just wanted to give our audience a little background information on you. I know you went to Liberty University. You were a great athlete. You were a four-time All-American in football, two-time national shot put champion. So what made you decide to get into powerlifting? I know you began in 1981, I believe. What kind of drew you towards the powerlifting?
I've always wanted to be strong. I don't remember a time when I didn't want to be strong. My mom and dad used to take advantage of that and have me do like yard work to convince me that I was going to build big muscles if I did the yard work. And I would do it whatever, we were so naive back then. We didn't know how to develop strength. Right. When I was 14, my mom and dad bought me for Christmas, bought me a weight set. Man, I did that thing 3 times a day there. I didn't know what weight to use. So I figured I need to use the weight that's in the picture, and it was a 10, 5, 2.5. So I did everything with a 10, 5, 2.5. Clueless is what to do. Right. And then it's, you evolve, in the 9th grade, I was competing in the shot put. And I decided I'm going to do 600 push-ups a day. And I do 12 sets of 50, do 200 in the morning, 200 after school, 200 at night. Yeah. And, whatever it took to get strong, I always wanted to be strong. So when I went to college, a buddy of mine says, you know what? I think you could become really strong. And I'm like, I could deadlift back then, but that's about all I could do. My squat was horrendous. And my bench was really bad. And
that's funny.
I said, I said, okay, let's give it a try,
Yeah.
And lo and behold, after a while, it started to develop, and I got stronger and stronger. It's never been something where I especially the bench press, where I was like gifted and I was the strongest guy. I tell you, I've had at least 10, 15 training partners that were way stronger than me. I'm just not that gifted at it. But it was,
yeah. I mean, that's amazing to hear, the guy who bench pressed that much weight that you're saying you're not that gifted at it. It's amazing.
Yeah. I came after 10 years of bench pressing. I came out of college, went to the first drug-free nationals and benched 341 pounds. It didn't have a bad day, Yeah. And I was the worst bench presser there by 35 pounds, I was horrible.
Like now, I mean, I know you're like a renowned like strength and conditioning coach. You've worked at major universities. You're working for Sorinex right now, which is a major manufacturer of strength equipment that you were telling me about. So I know you can give your expertise to all these like young athletes that you coached in college. So I mean, these guys were so lucky to have you coaching them and teaching them. Yet when you were young, like how did you learn like the correct way to bench press, or how did you know? I mean, because people that may not know this, I mean, they think of the bench press as just like brute force, but it's a very technical lift. Very,
Yep.
very technical lift. And so how did someone at like a young age like that yourself, like how did you learn to do such a technical lift? Was it just
Um,
trial and error or?
a lot of times, people, unfortunately, the internet has given so many people so much information that it's kind of an information overload.
Yeah.
Back then, we had to learn what we call under the bar. You just kept lifting and going, wow. And then you would travel around and you try to find people that would actually open up and share with you. And the problem would be is that they wouldn't, if they were really good, a lot of times they want to keep their secrets to themselves and they wouldn't necessarily tell you everything or tell you the truth at all about what they were doing. So you always had to decipher what was true, what wasn't true. And it led me to the guy who wrote the book on the biomechanics of the bench press, Dr. Tom McLaughlin.
Yeah.
I wasn't a very good bench presser, and I didn't have I didn't even have a master's degree. And he asked me what I thought about his book, and I told him, I said, I don't feel like I'm worthy to say anything about your book. I says, I don't have any credentials. So I said, I prefer not to say anything. He goes, no. Tell me what you think. And I said, well, personally, I've had to adapt my bench technique to something that would mimic the dips because I was really good at dips.
Yeah.
And I said, well, this is what I did. And I explained it all to him.
Yeah.
And he goes, wow. He goes, you're the first person to ever explain it to me like that. And I thought, well, what a nice guy, entertaining this young guy,
Yeah.
So then the next day, we're at the National Strength Coaches Conference. He's got a booth selling his book.
Now,
And
how long ago was this?
1989.
So this is back in 89. Okay.
Yeah. So he's telling everybody, about 30 guys, about this guy who revolutionized the bench technique. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need to talk to this guy. And he goes, yeah, there he is in the back. And I'm thinking, man, lucky me, I'm right by him. And he goes, it's you. And I went, what? And but what that did was it gave me confidence.
Sure.
Because of somebody that I respected so much that he respected me. And so I said to myself, after I went to a seminar with the former Soviet Union weightlifting coach with Johnny Parker and the New York Giants, he taught us for 3 days how to design programs. And I sat there and I said to myself, I said, you know what? I'm going to revolutionize how to train the bench press. And I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to pretend like I don't know anything. Like I've never been taught anything, and I'm going to start from the beginning and I'm going to build a new training program.
Now,
and I
Bill,
did.
excuse me 1 second. So at that point, like, what were you benching at that point? Like yourself, like, what was like your...
I was at coming into I was in my early 30s.
Yep.
And I was benching around 440, 450 in competition.
That raw or with was that raw competitions or was that with equipment?
It was with equipment, but our shirts were useless.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15, 20 pounds at the most you got off of them.
Yeah.
They hurt so bad that it was like, I don't even know if I want to use this. But, I remember the first time I saw one, I thought, I would never use that. And then I got beat by 15 pounds on the total, and I went, oh, I'm ordering one. And so, but they hurt bad, man. But so I went and redesigned how to train for the bench, and my bench started taking off. I mean, 50 to 70 pounds a year just kept going up and up. And I'd hit a wall, and I think, well, that's all I'm going to ever get. I remember I got up to 639.
Yep.
And I thought, that's as good as it's ever going to get. Everybody told me to quit. Right. And I said, I just have to go and reevaluate the weak component of my training program and redesign it. And I did, and boom, went to 710. And so then I started to realize, okay, there's more to this. The program design is huge. The Russian coach who taught us how to design the programs said that it would take him 40 hours to write up a 4-week routine.
Yeah.
And it's that complicated.
Wow.
And so I sat there and I thought, well, okay, I really believe in program design. And I started tweaking it. And over the years, especially recently, I just started cutting out the fat. Anything that was not productive, anything that wasn't making a huge impact on my bench, I cut it out. And that's what really helped me go to the next level. And to be honest with you, I never, I always wanted to be strong. The other dream I always had, I always wanted to be the greatest in the world at something.
Yeah.
And I never saw myself as being the greatest bench presser of all time with the biggest bench of all time. I never saw myself as that guy. Yeah. That's for everybody. That was for all the other guys that were gifted. And it wasn't until I turned 60 that I went, oh my gosh, I have a chance at this. But at 60, you're thinking,
I get guys in my office, as you know, I'm a chiropractor. I get guys in my office that are 55 that it's like a workout for them to climb on my adjusting table and then climb off. I mean, they're out of breath by the time, you know what I mean? Like, so someone who's in their 60s to be putting up that type of poundage is just like incredible, because like I said, most guys at, I'm going to be 58, you're 62. Most guys our age, they couldn't even imagine, couldn't even imagine, most of them are telling me, I used to be able to do push-ups. I can't do any push-ups. They'll be like 40 years old. I can't do any push-ups because my shoulders are gone. I got no strength, but it's because they don't really know how to train. They don't know how to work out. They don't know how to take care of themselves,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Two things. Louis Simmons told me, he said, Bill, you poke an old man with a needle, he'll jump just as fast as a young guy. Meaning the CNS is going to work the same. It doesn't matter. It's all about prevention of injuries. You got to stay injury free. I'm blessed. I've never had a surgery on my upper body. That's second thing is
for someone who's been involved with powerlifting as long as you, that's amazing to stay so healthy,
Yeah. And the second thing is consistency. I tell people all the time, the meanest thing you could do to me is have me skip a workout, because I'm going to get hurt if I come back. Mm-hmm. And especially with the programming that I do a programming that's very fluid, and it's to the minute. And so if you go and miss a workout,
goes off the whole program.
I make anybody who does my program, works out with me, if you miss a workout, I make you start from ground zero all over again. And They're like, oh, I don't need to do that. And I'm like, yes, you do, because you're not going to get hurt. And I'm not going to let you get hurt. And they hate it to the point that that's the motivation and never missing a workout. But, I never miss a workout. If I'm on vacation and I got to get up at 2:30 in the morning because we're going to go somewhere, I get up at 2:30 in the morning and I go work out. The other thing is, I believe that in working out within, they said 3 to 5 hours after you wake up is the prime time to work out. The Russian coach told us. And I will not work out within 2 hours of waking up, because that's the times where I've gotten injured. And so I'll get up as early as I have to get up, moving around.
I agree. I don't feel good when I'm working out. If I'm trying to work out like an hour after I've gotten up, I same thing. I've been injured. I just don't. I agree with that. That seems like, it's funny. I've never heard anyone say that, but when I think back on how, when I'm training, 3 to 5 hours after you wake up is definitely is like an ideal period of time.
Yeah. Your body's fresh, your testosterone levels at its highest, and you're able to perform at your best, So I always like to train at my peak, because I've seen that gave me the best result. So, you give up a lot in life. There's a lot of things that I did not do, wouldn't do it. We go on vacation, I'm going to bed early because I got to get up and go work out,
it's a way of life, I mean, it was funny. We went for a camping trip last year for a week, and we rented an RV, and I piled the thing full of weights. I took bumper plates. I brought all the weightlifting. I brought everything with me, and I had it in the RV. And every time we stopped at a campground, I pulled out all the bumper plates, the bar. I had everything with me. People thought I was crazy, but that's just the lifestyle. You don't want to miss a workout.
You can't afford to miss a workout. Yeah. And and that's part of part of the reason why there was a few different reasons why I felt like I needed to retire, because my family had given up so much.
And you retired after that record in January, right? Is that correct? You haven't?
Yeah, I told my wife, I said, going into that meet, I said, I'm going to retire after this meet. And she's like, I don't believe you. And because she knows it was just who I was, Right. And no, I explained to her why. She goes, well, okay, maybe you're, maybe you mean it. Maybe and what was really cool was I missed that record in competition 20 times in a row. Wow. And I missed it 2 times that day on my first.
That was your third attempt, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I missed it bad. I mean, I missed it bad. Like I didn't belong even trying it. But like my training partners and I all agreed. What else is there?
I think that's a great lesson for young lifters watching this too, is that, like, look at you, here you are, the world record holder. You missed it 20 times. I mean, people might have gave up after 2 times or 10 times or 12 times, but it just shows that, you're not a quitter. You're not going to give up. And if you persevere, it just shows you, that's how you become a winner. You don't give up.
And everybody told me to quit. Everybody. Yeah. I mean, I have a restless leg syndrome where, I go like into convulsions, like, it was so bad. And everybody's telling me all the doctors, quit. It's, your legs are, quit.
Right.
And all my friends, family members telling me, quit. You need to quit. You're too old. You need to stop. And I went, no, no. I know God's called me to do this. Yeah. And I know my calling. I know what I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to finish this course. Yep. And in fact, what was really cool was after I missed those first 2 attempts,
yep,
I'm standing there. Well, I'm actually sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, I got 1 attempt left. God, I'm not going to ask for your help. God, I want to thank you for allowing me to do what I absolutely love to do for 50 years. I mean, wow. Who could be so greedy and not be gracious of what think about, I'm 62 and right. I'm attempting the biggest bench of all time. Wow. How can I not be grateful? And I just said, thank you. And I really, honestly, I'm a super competitive guy.
Right.
Super competitive. And I said, if I don't make it, I know I've tried as hard as I could, right, and I'm okay with it. I'm content. Yep. I said, but God, if you got any tips, now's the time.
Now's the time. That's right.
Yeah. And
good. I'm sorry, Bill. Go ahead. Finish up.
Almost instantly, God said, move your hands out 1/8 of an inch. And I thought, I know that doesn't seem very significant, but like you said, the technique is so dramatic at that kind of weight. Oh, yeah. And I thought, that's a great idea. So I moved my hands out 1/8 of an inch. And then I remember God said, try to bring the bar down slightly faster. And I went, okay, listen, that bar is going to come down the way it wants to come down. But I'll tell you something, because I have a bad shoulder, I got a big bone spur in my right shoulder. Yep. My shoulder usually collapses. And
at 62, you got to have there's got to be some arthritic changes in there. There's got to be
elbows are horrendous.
Yeah.
And so when he said press, it was in perfect position. And that bar I remember it just jumped up there.
I mean, I saw the video. I've watched that video. I can't tell you how many times. And it looks like the weight goes up so quickly and so easily. It was so smooth. It was amazing. I mean, it was almost like you were just perfectly, just in the perfect position, the perfect width, the perfect, I don't know. It just went, it was just one of those things where once you hit it, it was just like, boom, the weight went up. It was unbelievable. It was incredible.
It's sort of like what was it? The 1968 long jump with Bob Beeman.
Right.
Just nailed it, just nailed it. Unfortunately, in the bench press, you have a picked amount of weight, but I to this day, I'm curious as what weight could have been on there. But you know what? Like I said, I was grateful for the opportunity. I walked away, ninth inning, two outs, full count, World Series, grand slam, home run.
Hit it out of the park. Yeah. That's what a way to end. What a way to end, your career with that lift. It's just incredible. So
so I'm very thankful.
Getting back to a little bit about your training and your training philosophy, as you know, and you've dealt with thousands of probably young athletes, is, you see it all the time, I'm sure. I mean, I've seen it over the years, is young athletes, they get in the gym and all they want to do is just max out all the time. I mean, you watch a group of high school kids lifting weights. What are they doing? They're just doing maxes on bench press. And I was reading an article, and I think it was Muscle and Fitness. It was and you were talking about your philosophy on about, how much, how you want to train, as far as like, and you mentioned something, and maybe you could expand on this, about how you don't get to that point of where you're pushing. In other words, if you're doing a set of 6 at 400 pounds and it's comfortable, I think I read you said you'll stay in that zone for a while without trying to push it too far, because it affects your neurological system by always trying to force it too much. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Because I thought that was very interesting, and I thought it was a good lesson for all these young kids out there who are just always trying to always try to lift as much as they could, always pushing the envelope, every single workout. And obviously it doesn't get them anywhere,
Yep. Okay, listen, I'm going to try to cover this as best I can.
Okay.
All right, there's 2 types of strength training. Recently I found a third, but anyway, there's training to exhibit maximum strength.
Yep.
And that's what these kids are doing. All they're doing is exhibiting their maximum strength.
Yep.
You're not getting stronger.
Right.
2 is there's the second method is the training to develop strength potential. Okay. Yep. I'll bet you, even when was competing, I spent 85% of my training, at least, on training to develop strength potential. That was my philosophy forever. Now, recently, I've developed a third method. It's called strength training to look strong, but you're not. And that's what I've been doing. Anyway, what I correlate, I used to be the track coach at Liberty.
Yeah.
And so I have a background in speed training. And if I was training an athlete to be as fast as possible, even though they could sprint 200, 400 meters, whatever, they're not sprinting at optimal speed. Okay.
Yep.
And what happens is when you go to bench press, yes, you could do that weight 10 or 12 times.
Yep.
But what is the speed of the bar on reps 10 and 12 or 8? It's too slow. All right. And you're frying the nervous system. So what I do is a weight that I could do 10 times, I'll do 6. But I'm going to attack that last rep. The last rep dictates the training effect of that set. It's like bodybuilding, okay? I'm doing a bodybuilding set. I might do that for 20. But if I do it for 3 and stop, I got nothing out of that, right? Okay. Same thing. The opposite's true too. If I take a heavy weight and I do it for extra reps, you turned it into a bodybuilding workout and you didn't turn it into a strength workout. So the key to being strong is to educate the muscle fibers to recruit more muscle fibers and to get the muscle fibers to fire faster. So in other words, go from a 4-cylinder to an 8-cylinder and go from 2,000 RPMs to 5,000 RPMs. If I do that, I'm going to be stronger and I'm going to be faster.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So in other words, you won't, if you're doing a weight, like you said, you'll attack it for 6 reps. If you feel like if you did a 7th, 8th, or 9th rep and you're slowing down on those reps, and that's where it's not the good zone to be in, right?
Exactly. I've used a Tendo unit for 20 plus years. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I experimented with that quite a bit. Particularly training with my athletes, and I needed to find what zone of speed did I need to maximize the power output, because for athletics, that's key. It's not just how strong you are. I joke about this all the time, but I was with the Seattle Seahawks. I'm benching 800 pounds, weighing 330. Okay, our nose guard is injured. He's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Cannot possibly play on Sunday. Sean Alexander comes up to me and says, Coach, we need you to play this Sunday. And I said, Sean, knock it off. Leave me alone. Stop making fun of me. He goes, Coach, you're a year older than Jerry Rice. Jerry was on the team. And he said, you bench 800 pounds. He says, we only need you 3 or 4 plays. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was like,
did you actually go in the game?
no. And that's the whole thing is that Coach, he goes, Sean says, I'm going to go up to Coach Holgram and ask him if you can play this Sunday. And then, Coach Holgram never asked me to play. So there's more, everybody thinks if they bench press really well, they're going to play in the league, or worse than that is the guys who can do 225 a zillion times. I'm like, and like I should get a chance at the NFL. I'm like, no, you shouldn't. Okay. My best is 50 reps with 315. Okay. So, and they didn't ask me to play. So,
I mean, they use that 225 at the combines, don't they, all the time? How many reps you can get with the 2 1/4?
Yeah.
I think that's like a standard thing.
Well,
I don't know.
And all it's for is they're not testing to really see how strong you are.
Yeah.
They're just seeing if you go to the weight room and do a workout. That's all. They want to know, do you work out?
Right.
In fact, I had a kid who benched 550 for us, started 44 games in college. And he goes, boy, wait till they see me bench press. And I do the 225 bench press test. Man, they're going to be shocked. And I said, dude, to be honest with you, when you do the 225 bench press test, your interview for the NFL is over. And he goes, why? What do you mean? I'm really good at it. I said, yes, you are. But your arms are short and you can get your chest up in position and your range of motion's minimum. And they're going to look at you and go, you're a center and my quarterback's supposed to get up underneath there for you to snap the ball to him. There's no way my quarterback can get up that far up underneath you. And I said, it's over for you. And, they just don't understand that. They just think if I'm really good at 225, I'm going to go to the NFL.
Yeah. I know. There's a little more.
Not at all. Not at all.
So what are the plans? Are you still, training right now? Or obviously you're retired from competition. So what are you doing these days to stay in shape, keep busy, all that?
You know what? I'm still benching. I want to lift heavy, but I haven't lifted heavy since January. I've lost 49 pounds. I got a 6-pack that's come back, and I got vascularity like crazy. And my wife's really proud of me.
Do you feel good at that little bit of lighter weight? Do you feel good as far as just feeling a little healthier, like type of thing?
Yes.
Weight? Yeah.
Yes. And I dropped weight before and I didn't feel as good, but I did it doing a ton of cardio.
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel good. This time I haven't used very much cardio at all.
Yeah.
I cleaned up my diet because when you're trying to push up that big weight, mass moves mass. We always joke, round is a shape, and were
you like 322? Am I correct with that when you hit that record?
Yes, but I was bigger than that. I was 330 that night, and I've been as heavy as 340. Wow. So
how tall are you, Bill?
6 foot.
6 foot. Okay. Yeah. So it's still a lot of weight for someone 6 feet. I mean,
yeah,
you're still looking at like a truck at 340 and 6 feet tall.
Yeah. And it just, at 62 at that age and to be that big, man, you're just asking for trouble, and I knew it, but I really wanted that record. I really wanted that record bad. And I wanted to finish it off the right way. And I'm so thankful for the way that it happened. And my body, I would have never known I was a good bench presser hadn't I gone up to 320 type plus body weight, because that's when I blossomed. I was good, but I wasn't that good until I got big. And then when I got big, that's when, because my upper back's really big. Everybody who comments says, oh my gosh, your upper back's huge. Yeah, and that's where I get all my leverage from.
Right. I was going to say, you need that strength in that upper back to be a good
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, Anthony Clark, who bless
Oh, yeah,
his
I
soul.
remember Anthony Clark. Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away. I spent 4 days with him. And then 2 weeks later, I go to the national championships in the drug-free nationals in Chicago. And Mark Philippi, who would compete in the world's strongest man competition, comes up to me. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he says, Bill, hey, do you have anybody to coach you? And I said, no. He goes, would you want Eddie to coach you? And I said, who's Eddie? And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, Eddie Cohn. And I went, you're freaking lying. I said, he don't even know who I am. He goes, he knows who you are and he wants to coach you.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. Oh my gosh, what a man. I'll tell you, that guy.
How long did you work with Ed Cohn for?
Huh?
How long did you work with him for?
No, just that day. He was my coach
just that day. Oh, just that day. Okay.
Yeah. But you know what? One thing I found, I got to work with Jerry Rice his last year in the NFL.
Yeah.
Ed Cohn. I've been around some truly legends, goats.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Those guys are legends.
And what I have found is that the truly, truly greatest guys are truly great guys.
Yeah.
Ed Cohn my brother passed away 3 years ago, and Ed was calling me to make sure I was okay. And then I found out his mother had passed away 2 days before that, but he didn't mention that. All he was concerned about me. Total class act. Jerry Rice, total class act. The guy you see on TV, I laugh every time I see him. He is way cooler than that. Okay, he's just a true gentleman, great guy, and just privileged to be around him. And what I also found was that the guys who aren't that good pretend they are.
The ones who like to talk a lot,
Yeah, they're turds, and I can't stand being around them, man. I'm like, I get these guys to tell me I'm gonna be the greatest player you ever coached. I said, I've coached 10 guys in the NFL Hall of Fame, including Jerry Rice. Yeah. I said, if you make the top 300 of the greatest players I ever coached, I said, you're doing really well. And they were like, oh, I didn't know that. And I said, yeah, just shut your mouth and go do your work. I said, nobody wants to hear you talk when you haven't done anything. Okay?
I was say, if you're talking, you're not training. So,
Exactly. Earn my respect. Don't sit there and tell me I'm going to respect you. Okay.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been great chatting with you. I'll tell you, when we wanted to start having guests on the podcast, you were like my inspiration, because I saw that video of you I didn't even know the age of the person. I just saw this video and it was someone benching 1,130 pounds. And I watch it. I'm like, that's like amazing, And then I hear it's you, and I hear that you're 62, and you were like my inspiration for I was like, you know what? I'm going to start getting on my podcast. I want to just have incredible athletes over the age of 50 doing amazing things. And it was your video of that bench press that kind of inspired all that. So that's why I'm so happy to have you on, because you were a big inspiration for the way I wanted to do my podcast with all my guests, so
thank you.
It's been an honor talking to you, and a pleasure. And if anyone hasn't seen that lift, they got to go online and watch how quickly 1,130 pounds comes off your chest. That's amazing. So
yeah, and please remind everybody, not only was it the open world record, but it's the drug tested world record also.
That's important to know too. That's even more amazing too. I mean, that is amazing. So anyways, it's been a pleasure, Bill. I'm gonna nice talking to you. If any of the viewers have any questions, they can leave it in the comment section down below. And actually, if you look on our channel and you watch the video, if you look underneath, there might be people asking questions. Maybe you can actually, from your computer, you can chime in if you want and answer any questions once the video goes public, so I'm sure the audience would appreciate it. So, but anyways, thanks again. Pleasure to have you. Nice to talk to you, and best of luck.
Thank you, Joe.
Endeavors. All right. Take care.
I hope you enjoyed my interview with Bill today. As you can see, he's an incredible guy, quite an inspiration. Thank you for tuning into the OcraMed Health Podcast. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions for myself or for Bill, leave a comment in the comment section down below. We'll do the best we can to answer any questions. And don't forget, OcraMed Health is here to keep you fit forever.